What's up, guys? This is my contest entry for Jwhiser1302 Aquatic Support System. Well, how I started in the hobby. Well, it was back in the late 80s. I was living in Staten Island, New York. I was about 13 years old. I had to go and meet my sister at her school so I could walk her home. Well, on the way home, spotted this fish tank sitting on the sidewalk. Somebody was throwing it out. And yeah, I mean, I wanted it bad. I mean, I walked my sister home. I grabbed my bike. It was about maybe 10 blocks away from my house. I rode back with my bike, and then I was by myself. Took everything for me to pick that thing up and put it on my bike so I could bring it home. I balanced it on the bike seat and walked my bike all the way home. Yeah, I got quite a few crazy looks from people driving by, but yeah, I didn't care. I got myself a fish tank. Well, it was an old type of fish tank. It was one of them vintage ones with the metal frames. Yeah, it was old type. Well, I had that thing up and running for quite, maybe you could say about a year or two. And come to find out a few years later, after my brother told me that one day he was messing around in the house and kicked the soccer ball and it hit the fish tank. It didn't break the glass, but yeah, that night I woke up to a whole bunch of water coming out of my fish tank, and it pretty much was the end of that tank. Well, after that, it was just still, on and off with a couple of fish tanks here and there, a couple of 10 gallons and whatnot. Tried putting up a saltwater tank. It didn't work out too good. And pretty much been on and off in the hobby for a while. And I stepped off for a few years. And, wind up moving to Georgia around 2003. And I wound up getting this 55 here. Well, I had a community tank going on. I didn't know too much about the hobby. I was just winging it. I still consider myself a newbie, even though I have quite a few tanks. But I'll tell you, I'll explain that to you in a minute. But yeah, so I had a community tank, and then I was in Walmart one day, and I wound up seeing the African cichlids they had in there. Well, I wound up picking one up. It was a nice blue one. I threw it in there, didn't know nothing about African cichlids. And then all of a sudden, my fish started disappearing one by one. And yeah, I was like, what the hell is going on? Well, anyway, come to find out, after I did a little bit of research online, yeah, it wasn't a good idea to put this African cichlid up in the community tank. So that's how I wound up with this African cichlid tank. I had that one, and then I did the research and found out you got to put a bunch of them in there, keep the aggression down and whatnot. So that's pretty much where my hobby really took off, is when I did this tank. Yeah, I got a lot of yellow going on in here. That's because of the fry I got from a pair that I got in here. But fixing to change that soon. Well, yeah, so that's how I got into the hobby. And I've been doing it on and off for quite a few years. So now, this really had me take off in the hobby, is this tank here. And then I started having a little bit more fun when they started giving me little babies. Now that's what I feel about this hobby is the excitement of it, of having these things grow in your tank, and especially when this happens right here, when they give you some babies. It's pretty amazing what you could get out of this hobby. It gives you a really good feeling, And not only that, you know, there's a lot of things that this hobby does for you, and that's why I found out quite a couple of months ago. Well, you know, Thanksgiving, I hurt myself. Still to this day, I don't even know how the hell I hurt myself, but you know, I came home one day right before Thanksgiving, and it felt like somebody hit me in the tailbone with a hammer. And yeah, it was pretty much over from there. My back gave out on me. My SI joint was all messed up, and I was out for the count. I was in bed. Been in bed for about a month and so, and then I started doing YouTube videos, watching YouTube videos. Now that's where I say that I'm a newbie, because then I started finding out that all along I've been doing this hobby. There's a lot of things I've been doing wrong. I mean, first of all, I really didn't do water changes as much as I should have, or probably hardly any. I used to always just top off the water. And I guess that's why a lot of times in my African cichlid tanks, sometimes I would have an outbreak of a disease, and it would kill like maybe 25% of the population. Excuse me. Well, that's what YouTube did for me. It pretty much showed me that I'm a newbie, and I had a lot to learn. So yeah, I started watching YouTube videos, and I mean, you saw that video I made. I gave you a shout out in that. You know, I started watching your videos, watching Dustin's, and all of you guys out there. And yeah, pretty much laid in bed for about a month doing that. I couldn't do jack. But then one day, you know, I got, you know, a brainstorm in my end, I guess you could say, and I just couldn't lay in bed no more. I had to do something. So then that's when I started doing this thing here, this Planet Tank. And this thing here is created from all the videos I had watched on YouTube. Dustin's, I've seen a couple of your videos, and pretty much started doing this thing. I mean, I was still in pain. I mean, tremendous pain. But you know, my wife came home one day, and she saw me messing around with this fish tank here, and she asked me, "What the hell are you doing?" And you know, pretty much what I told her was, "I'm staying true to the hobby." You know what I'm talking about, brother. Well, anyway, that's what I feel about this hobby, is that it helped me not concentrate on the pain I was having. It kind of got my mind off of what I was going through. And not only with that situation, but also, you know, this hobby is good for when you get out of work, man. The relief you get when you come sit down and mess around with your fish tanks. Well, at least for me, at least, you know, when you mess around with your fish tanks, it feels good, you know. It relieves a lot of pressure. It's true what they say, where it relieves, you know, lowers your blood pressure or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? But that's pretty much how I started in the hobby and what I feel about the hobby. And as far as being a newbie, I am right now, but I am learning a lot. I'm doing weekly water changes now. Every Saturday I take out my my hose, and I start doing these water changes. Now this was a fun project here. You know, I had it sitting out in the backyard, and that was another YouTube thing. Seeing a bunch of people have indoor ponds. So I threw this thing together. Let me see if I get these guys out. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun doing this thing. Yeah, that was the big guy right there. They probably don't like me hanging over the pond too much, but alright, so then we got that, and we got this thing here, you know this guy. So yeah, watching YouTube videos have me experimenting on things. I put some plants in here with this guy, and so far he hasn't even touched them, which I think is pretty cool. So he's working out with this guy here. And I'm just having so much fun with this, you know. And yeah, another thing, watching the YouTube channels, getting inspired by all these videos I've been seeing. You know, I wind up wanting to do a lot more. And that made me do that planted tank that I showed you. And that also made me get this fish here, which I had told you about. You helped me out with it. I mean, you gave me a couple of suggestions and whatnot, or, you know, answered my questions for me. But this right here is my little baby. Proud of this guy right here, man. But this guy is going to show you why I think I'll be able to benefit from that food that you got. Well, let me see if I can feed it. I've been using Hikari fish food, but yeah, for some reason, I mean, let me see if I could get this food in here and show you. Oh. Alright, now watch him. Look, spit. He spits the food right out. I don't know, for some reason he ain't liking it too much. I don't know why, but that's why I think I'd be able to benefit from this fish food. Yeah, sorry about that. My wife just came home from school, so the dogs are going crazy. And yeah, that was her telling them to shut up. But but yeah, and well, what can I say? I'm so proud of this little guy right here, and this is my next step, I guess you could say, or my next notch in the belt in this hobby, and this is what's really going to help me take off in this hobby. And another thing that happened also when I picked this guy up is this thing right here. Yeah, it's a glow tank. But the thing about this glow tank is, when I was picking up that fish, my wife walks up to me and she wanted a fish tank. She saw how much fun I was having in the hobby, that she wanted to do it too, which I think is a great thing. And it looks pretty cool too. I mean, it's not a bad looking tank. But yeah, so this is my video for your contest entry. Yeah, man, I hope you like it, man. And yeah, I hope I win, dude. Alright, it ain't no 24-hour video, but 15 minutes, I think it's pretty good. Alright, later, man.